And now for something completely different.
Forget everything you've been told by others before. Get ready for the real deal, the full story, real talk about money, markets, life. Now, it's The Real Investment Show, presented by RIA Advisors.
And good morning, everybody. Welcome to Financial Fitness Friday here on the Lance Roberts Show. I'm Rich Rosso, CFP. Danny Ratliff, CFP squared. This week went fast. It's not over yet. And we have an event tomorrow also coming up. Retirement Right Lane class, which will be online. I don't think we're advertising that, are we? But we will possibly have a link to that later on down the road. So I guess it's all about, Danny, it's all about Jackson Hole and what Mr. Powell is going to say. I have a suspicion that traders are going to be disappointed. I haven't really understood this week how market pundits are feeling that he is going to become more dovish. I don't understand where inflation is, where the trim mean PCE is, where all of these, with this sticky price CPI, how he absolutely could be more dovish. I personally think they stick to the hawkish tone. What are your thoughts?
I don't see how they don't. I mean, we haven't seen inflation come down as quickly as most people have hoped. We're not seeing the data that suggests that it's easing as quick. So where did we get this pivot that everybody continues to speak of? It's interesting. You continue to hear lots of different information surrounding what the rhetoric will be coming out of Jackson Hole. It's either going to be, I've heard anything that they're going to come out and say, hey, we're going to need to hike 100 basis points to, we're going to slow down to 25 or 50 basis points hikes from here. I don't think it's based on past conversations or information that he's provided. I don't see why he would change his stance at the moment. There's nothing material that's changed enough to make him come back.
Well, and there are some structural issues. Christine Lagarde, the European Central Bank president, said, you know what? I don't think we're going back to the environment of low inflation. There are structural trends that have been in place, but the pandemic blew apart, that are going to continue.
Well, he even said the exact same thing, basically. He said he doesn't know what is the new normal. What does that look like? Is that something that we previously had, or is it something completely different? It's probably somewhere in the middle.
I mean, globalization kept prices low or steady. We are going through a process of deglobalization, and that is going to be more volatile for prices and supply chain. We know that's going to be the case, right? We know that this Russia-Ukraine thing, when it comes to food prices, this is going to drag on longer and longer.
Well, not to mention tensions with China over Taiwan. I mean, there's a slew of issues right now, and as you mentioned, none of it is disinflationary or deflationary. It's all inflationary. If we're going to stop importing manufacturing,
absolutely,
it's going to be higher.
I think we saw a rise in protectionism before the pandemic. It was just a whisper, but now the call is getting louder, right? Especially when we see what's going on with China and Russia. That leads to higher prices overall. We understand labor markets. We understand that the labor force participation rate fell out of bed. And we have roughly, I guess, almost 3 million workers that have disappeared, whether it's through immigration or all of a sudden people decide to have babies. This is going to be an ongoing problem. So that wage growth, which is especially sticky, is going to be a bear. I mean, we are seeing companies looking to lay off. We are seeing a reduction in job openings. And this always takes more time, but especially post-pandemic, it's going to take longer. As I always say, Danny, I think the Fed has to break something to get from where we are now inflation-wise to 2%. Or they need to perhaps change that target for whatever this next iteration or cycle looks like.
Yeah, it's going to have to look a lot different than what it does today. Headline this morning, market may close positive for the month. we've got to remember where we're coming off of as well. I mean, we had markets were down quite a bit, 20 to 30%, depending on the index that you're looking at. And we've recouped a lot of those gains, which has been great. But we went from very oversold to very overbought very quickly. And now we're in this environment where we're waiting. I think everybody's hinging on Jackson Hole and what comes out today. So I'm waiting to hear what Fed Jerome Powell says today. This is going to be what's important, I think, as far as how we move forward. And then as we get into, continue to collect more data over the next several months, that's going to be really important.
If anything, Powell's going to have to conflict with whatever comes out of the White House, because we're going to see higher energy prices, even though there's this Inflation Reduction Act. Although we do have some news for you coming up about one good thing that might come out of it. We found one. That's all we found. And even the one we found was not that good. It's okay, but just one. It's
been a busy couple of weeks for policymakers.
Oh yeah, they're busy, all right. They're very busy. This I got to remember. I'm on the radio. I got to be careful. Danny tries to get it out of me, and it stirs inside, and then I'm like, before I blurt this
out,
I'm
usually trying to put it back in the can. What are you talking about?
Don't let me get old Janet yelling on you.
I'm in Jackson Hole, and my husband's hanging out with the housekeeper at the pool. What could go wrong, Danny? What could go wrong?
So we're going to see that I believe there is a more permanent headwind to energy prices. Part of it is because we're in our own way. And, the whole world is in its own way when it comes to that. Forget it.
Well, you saw California said that by 2035, they're going to ban combustible engines. You have GM saying by 2035 they're going to stop making
I can
them.
sit on a California highway longer than that charge. What happens then? Helicopter chargers? Drone chargers? What's the new business, Danny?
Well, there's a great business model. If somebody could figure out how you could swap batteries quickly, I think that there's a fantastic business model for this. But
it's its own little world. We should just put a fence around it and let them do what they have to do over there. Also, food prices. Listen, global change is real. I don't think really cows have been responsible for it, but it's real. And food prices and drought's a real thing, Danny. Something that needs to be reckoned with. So food supplies are going to be a challenge over the next few years. So these energy and food prices are going to look different. If we have a rougher than average winter, look what's going to happen in Europe based on gas prices and their supply. It's going to be a problem.
Oh, utilities are going to be through the roof.
Right. Or they're not going to get supply.
Yeah.
Right? We won't supply it, which we could. So it's going to be a challenge to see. But I think, I'm not speaking for Danny, some of this inflation, as I've been saying for 2 years, is not transitory, and it's going to take a heck of a lot longer. So I have no idea why everybody is so positive about Jackson Hole. We get back, the one little shining light, little shining light in the Inflation Reduction Act. It's even hard for me to say that. Here on Financial Fitness Friday, when we get back.
Get daily investment news you can use, delivered at the speed of the internet at realinvestmentadvice.com.
Hi, Lance Roberts here. If you're like most people, your 401k plan represents the bulk of your retirement assets. And unfortunately for many, managing your 401k plan can be difficult. There's so many choices, so many things to consider. With just a quick email, a couple of questions, you can put RIA advisors to work for you managing your 401k plan. Get started right now at the website, realinvestmentadvice.com, or simply call our toll-free number, 855-RIA-PLAN, or again, simply online at realinvestmentadvice.com.
Health and financial security touches everyone within your organization. Offering benefits for all doesn't need to be complicated. Hi, I'm Tom Allen, Senior Benefits Consultant at RIA Advisors. RIA Benefits provides independent expertise to find solutions that speak to the mission of your business, the culture you want to establish, and the budget you are able to work within. Book a free consultation with me at realinvestmentadvice.com/retirement, and we'll find a solution that takes care of your most important asset, your people. realinvestmentadvice.com/retirement, realinvestmentadvice.com.
Could your job still be at risk? A new normal can still include new obstacles. A severance package can be an emotional as well as a financial decision to consider. Wouldn't it be comforting to review the options for you and your family with an objective financial partner? At RIA Advisors, we're here to help. From severance pay, tax timing decisions, to how to maximize unemployment benefits, the RIA team wants to make sure you can do what's best for your family. There's no charge for a consultation, so reach out to RIA Advisors, 855-RIA-PLAN, RIAadvisors.com.
And now, another page from the Real Investment Advisors Investing Manifesto. Bulls win in bull markets. Bears win in bear markets. Eagles soar above and take advantage of opportunity. Let us help you soar as you reach your financial goals with RIA Advisors. Neither bull nor bear. RIA Advisors, 281-501-1791 or online at realinvestmentadvice.com.
The Real Investment Show.
And welcome back. We're so glad you're with us this morning. Hope you all have a restful weekend planned. Weekends go by real fast. And now we're going to be talking about donut holes, which is going to make me want to go through Dunkin' Donuts. But this is not the donut hole you're thinking about. There's a donut hole in Medicare where a drug plan reaches its limit of what it will cover for drugs. So once you and your Part D plan have spent a certain amount on drugs during the calendar year, then you reach a gap. And then once you get past that gap, you're back on the plan, right? That donut hole can be pretty expensive, right? So the threshold increases every year. Right now, it's about $7,050. The Inflation Reduction Act is looking to cap all retirees' annual drug co-payments at $2,000. So you're essentially, Danny, taking away the donut hole, because again, that could be a pretty once you're past that threshold, that's all coming out of pocket.
That's a pretty big surprise for a lot of people.
Yeah, it could be pretty painful. So there's about 1.5 million retirees pay more than $2,000 for prescriptions. But a lot of them, again, we saw a spike in insulin prices, right? Or different drugs that come out. A lot of retirees, if they're paying $5,000, $10,000. But this is going to cap at $2,000. So that's not. That could be relief for those older Americans who are taking specialized drugs, and it's really breaking them.
Well, this also shows the importance, especially when you're on a specialized drug, to ensure that you're checking this each and every year. Mm-hmm. Go out and compare what you're currently on and make sure they're going to continue to cover that drug. That's a big problem that we see.
Right.
A lot of money's left on the table, typically year to year, because people don't shop. It's easy. We think, you know what, I've got it. This has worked great. But unfortunately, sometimes these plans make changes during the middle of the year or throughout, from one year to the next. So we need to make sure that you're keeping as much money in your pocket by shopping.
And if you can try to get off certain drugs, eat healthier and so forth, some people can't, right? You have older Americans that are deciding between medications and food, or other essential items, right? Or say, we know how much of an older American's income comes from Social Security, Danny. So something that where I get stuck in the donut hole could be financially devastating if I don't really have any additional savings. But to Danny's point, your Part D prescription drug plan, based on studies, most older Americans are going to overpay. and they don't check or do their homework on these plans every year, right? We're going to be getting to open enrollment season coming up before you know it. Starts in October. So you have to keep in mind that whatever drugs you're taking, to Danny's point, you have to shop your plan. And you have once a year to do it. I make sure that I tell all our older clients and people I meet with, when you Part D, put it on your calendar for open enrollment. Spend a couple hours on a Saturday or for whatever time you have, and just get your drugs ready that you're taking and go through the process. You can save a lot of money by doing that.
You know, we do a lot of different lunch and learns, and it seems that Medicare is typically one of the most highly attended events that we do.
It does.
And the big part of it is that many people say, look, I just don't understand it. It's the alphabet soup. There's different times of that you can enroll in it. There's 3 different enrollment periods. You get a lot of misinformation. You have to be careful where you get it from as well. And I think that's probably a big part of it, Rich, is that you get it done and you think, whew, don't have to worry about this anymore. Because, look, there are some moving parts. It can be overwhelming, and there's so much information because, look, we know once you turn about 64, you're every other day you're probably getting a mailer on this. You're getting emails. You're being targeted by ads.
It's almost that time of year for you to be slammed.
Yeah, it's just that paralysis by analysis. Yeah. And so the open enrollment period will come up October 15th, go through December 7th. Make sure that you are shopping and make sure, I mean, there's a lot of money left out there. Try to keep as much as you can and make sure that your drug is still covered if you're talking about Part D.
Yeah, keep in mind, if you're an older American and you're spending $4,430 out of pocket, you're then required to pay 25% of the cost of the drugs until they reach a threshold that pushes them into this what we call catastrophic phase of Medicare's drug coverage. This all goes back to, Danny, there are some illnesses we cannot avoid.
Correct.
As we age. But this always goes back to the health and wealth connect we always talk about, and Lance talks about on the radio. There are some really great books out there. There's one called Longevity Factor. It's worth a read. And Dr. Gidry talks about how your DNA, your genetics, account for maybe 2% of your life expectancy. The rest is all lifestyle. And we have to remember, we do have a somewhat sedentary lifestyle in the United States, right? Or we go for the fast foods. It takes a little bit more time. But if you put it into dollars that you might avoid in the future, and just the quality of your retirement, it might have you think differently about what you're putting into your mouth.
So what do you do every time you eat a donut? You still do that?
I deduct $100 from my retirement account in my mind. In other words, I'm reducing my amount of what I've saved because I'm going to pay for it in healthcare costs in retirement. Of course, it's just a mental accounting in my head, but it keeps me grounded as to, whoa, did I have a good week? Or did I have a bad week? Where am I on the health ledger?
See, I thought you were physically moving money into an account.
Yeah, then I could spend all day doing that.
Yeah.
Generally speaking, I very rarely have to move the $100. No, in my mind, if I do it, it changes
good is that?
Well, because it changes my behavior. Remember, I want to change my behavior about what I think the future is going to be. Right?
We thought you were physically moving money
Yeah,
around.
this has been going on for years. I'm a little disappointed here.
Yeah.
Brent's on
If you do, let me tell you something. Whatever you tell your brain, you're going to feel. So in other words, what I might do, to your point.
Wait a second.
No, it really works for me.
Whatever you tell your brain, you're going to feel.
Yeah. If with this mental accounting that I do.
Uh-huh. So are you Janet Yellen or are you Richard Rosso?
No, if I'm in a store, if I'm in a restaurant and I look at the menu, I got these dollar bills going off in my head. Only because Amy takes me to these real expensive restaurants.
I do too. Hey, babe, we're going to split this meal.
Yeah, right. But I'm looking at, if I eat this, I'm going to spend more in healthcare and retirement. So I deduct it from my head.
See,
and then I don't order it.
I thought you were physically deducting it and you were putting that money in a separate pile to help you pay for the increased health.
Well, then I will.
care
Well,
costs.
if I could start, I could actually go back and start doing that. But frankly, I don't deviate from the diet very often. I don't really have this $100 debits as much as I did in the past.
No, you're pretty good with that. I mean,
Yeah.
but I mean, like, so we've talked about with the kids, or like if I cut their hair, or Michelle cleans the house, you don't have a maid service, or mow the lawn, things of that nature. I physically put money into an account, and I thought that's what you were doing.
What are you going to do with that money, Danny?
I'm probably going to have to use it from those donuts this morning.
The thing is, I already
There's been
saved
no
so much.
donuts.
I mean, I'm a happy miser anyway. I save mostly everything I have, and my mortgage is really nothing. So I'm pretty much doing that anyway. I'm worried about what I'm going to lose if I live long enough, and how I'm going to pay for the donut hole. Again, because we got to remember, who knows if this is really going to happen? This $2,000 cap,
That's your next book title.
the donut hole.
No, The Happy Miser.
Oh,
There you go.
Yeah.
I think that book's been written.
Man,
Is
did I
it a
tell
movie?
you I thought that my dryer was shrinking my shirts?
What?
Yeah, it turns out it was my refrigerator.
Yes, absolutely. I said, did he buy one of those dryers again?
Yeah. I've got a refrigerator like that, too.
I got a good scratch and ding victory this week.
Did you?
From a person I talked to and said, oh, yeah, I want this like pink washer dryer because it goes with the house and all that. And I'm like, let's calculate the cost of that color versus going to Sam's Scratch and Dent shop and figuring it out. And it was something like saving $1,500 by just getting plain old washer dryer.
But I mean,
another $30 for a gallon of white paint to match. Come on.
I mean, I just don't understand this like luxury appliance.
man, I didn't know you could get a pink washer dryer.
You have not seen.
And I
some
don't
of the
want to.
colors.
Lime green. You can
Oh,
go back to the 70s
make
if
you
you
wanna
want.
throw up.
But let me tell you what you're
He's
going to
got
pay.
the lime green one,
Yeah.
shag carpet.
No way.
Lime
I would
green.
get the shag carpet. I absolutely would spend for that.
With your sunken living room.
I would do that too.
I know you.
I'd have that conversation pit. And there's not going to be a lot of conversation going on in it. But
It'd be dogs.
yes, I would have a sunken living room with shag carpet. But the point is, I saved money in a lot of other places. But it was nice to help someone else save money this week and going, why do you need this pink? You know, it's just, why is such a great question. Why do you need that? Well, because it matches this. And well, you know, the justification for spending like $500 more for a color just sort of starts to sound silly when you yourself start trying to defend the extra $500 or so that you're going to spend just on the color alone. Think about it. I'm going to have to go catch up with my health account and start putting some bucks into it.
Yeah, I'm disappointed. We're going to have to do a weekly check-in here, buddy.
I think I only have to put like $1,000 in there, so I'll take care of that today for you.
Okay.
Get me back on track.
All right.
Oh, we get back. We want to talk about the 4 things women fear most about retirement, and it isn't Danny's advice. When we return, Financial Fitness Friday.
The Real Investment Advice blog. It's required reading for the informed investor. Catch it today at realinvestmentadvice.com.
In 1999, a parafiduciary group of financial advisors were busted by corporate giants for trying to operate in their clients' best interest. These men promptly escaped from a high-cost margin environment to the Houston Energy Corridor. Today, still excoriated by their former employers, they survive as protectors of others' fortunes. If you have a problem about preserving capital, if no one else can help, and you can find them right here, maybe you should hire the RIA team.
Health and financial security touches everyone within your organization. Offering benefits for all doesn't need to be complicated. Hi, I'm Tom Allen, Senior Benefits Consultant at RIA Advisors. RIA Benefits provides independent expertise to find solutions that speak to the mission of your business, the culture you want to establish, and the budget you are able to work within. Book a free consultation with me at realinvestmentadvice.com/retirement, and we'll find a solution that takes care of your most important asset, your people. realinvestmentadvice.com/retirement, realinvestmentadvice.com.
And now, another page from the Real Investment Advisors Investing Manifesto. A passive investment portfolio requires active risk management. It's not a choice, it's necessity. Diversification doesn't protect against risk of loss. Let us actively help you reach your financial goals with RIA Advisors. Neither bull nor bear. RIA Advisors, 281-501-1791 or online at realinvestmentadvice.com.
Can't catch the whole show now? Listen to our podcast later at realinvestmentadvice.com.
Talking about how we grew up, right? You know, we didn't have Google. If you didn't know the answer, you just were stupid. That's what I read growing up, was reading encyclopedias.
The Real Investment Show podcast.
This is why I have a masterful collection of useless information. So
Same show, your schedule.
I know all kinds of stuff that has no relevance to anything.
At realinvestmentadvice.com.
You know a little about a lot.
I do.
Anyone can sell you insurance, and they'll gladly take your premium dollars. The RIA Insurance Agency can provide you with insurance solutions tailor-made for your needs and lifestyle. Because everyone's assets are different, let RIA Insurance review what you need to protect and how. We won't sell you insurance, but what you need will be a matter of policy. RIA Insurance Agency. 888-915-0780. 888-915-0780. RealInvestmentAdvice.com. Click on the Insurance tab.
Real Investment Show podcasts are now available from Stitcher Smart Radio at Stitcher.com.
Hi, Lance Roberts here. If you're like most people, your 401k plan represents the bulk of your retirement assets, and unfortunately for many, managing your 401k plan can be difficult. There's so many choices, so many things to consider. With just a quick email, a couple of questions, you can put RIA Advisors to work for you managing your 401k plan. It's a quick and easy application. Just simply click Ask a Question at realinvestmentadvice.com or give us a call at 855-RIA-PLAN. That's realinvestmentadvice.com.
Have market gyrations caused you to lose sleep? If so, it's because you have more risk in your portfolio than you realize. It's time to reevaluate your long-term investing strategy with RIA Advisors. Our disciplined approach can help eliminate unnecessary risk. If you think it's time to work with an advisor who puts your interests first, it's time for Real Investment Advice. RIAadvisors.com.
You're listening to The Real Investment Show.
There's someone on YouTube who's taking the drug holiday. I bet a lot of people who are on Medicare do that. If they get into the donut hole, they'll say, you know what? And we see this a lot, actually, seriously. Skip dosage, cut dosage, right?
Well, that's a sad state of affairs when you're skipping dosage for something that you physically need. Because, I mean, look, you can make problems worse.
But I bet it's a realistic assessment depending upon those choices that you need to make. It's unfortunate, but it does happen.
So chose a Big Mac over the prescription?
No, I think it's just either you say, hey, I'm supposed to take 3 pills a day and I'm going to take 1.5. I'm going to cut my dosage, even though I shouldn't. But I have to make these medications last longer. I would dare to say that's more prevalent than you realize.
Yeah, no, I bet you're right.
Overall. So retirement planning overall creates anxiety. I think, Danny, when we do it, we take a lot of your anxiety away and turn it into a really great awareness exercise. But women especially feel the anxiety. And it makes sense because women live longer. And they are concerned that maybe they'll live at least their last decade of retirement alone. Their spouses pass away. Their children are occupied with their own lives. So that thought of handling financial obstacles alone, especially around, Danny, long-term care, is a sense of angst, source of angst for them. Being a burden to their families, becoming isolated, the overall vulnerability of aging alone is absolutely a concern for women. And listen, it's a concern for everybody, but I think just because women live longer, they face that for a longer period of time.
Well, they do. We talk about this frequently within the financial plan when we're looking and saying, okay, well, what happens if we have this long-term care event? You know, how are you going to subsidize it or pay for part of it? And many times, if you can only afford to cover one person, it's historically the wife. Because let's face it, unfortunately for you guys, y'all take care of us, and you historically live a little bit longer, and then somebody's going to have to take care of you. So I would personally want to make sure that we ensure, like if I had to choose between myself and my wife, and we both have longevity in our family, if I could only buy long-term care insurance for one of us, it would be for her.
Yeah. I mean, U.S. Census data shows that about 50% of women age 65 or older are on their own due to divorce, death of a spouse, having never married. So you have to explore the issue. You got to talk to your spouse, write down your thoughts as a woman, just think about it, even if they're painful. It's a powerful to write out the concerns or discuss them with your significant other or family members can very well help or at least visualize the fear. Because it may not be as justified as you think. And I think a lot of ways you take away that fear, Danny, is through planning. Because you can find out the risk mitigation, right? You can create in the plan, look at your life expectancy. We always have people take the livingto100.com quiz, 40 questions by Dr. Peel, mostly lifestyle-based, that'll give you some idea of how long you're going to live. I mean, obviously it's not perfect, but it does give you a sense of which partner is going to live longer. But if this is a hidden fear and you're not communicating it, it makes it worse.
But man,
it festers and it makes it worse.
I think people would rather do a budget than do the Living to 100 quiz. People are like, what? I don't want to know when I'm going to die. And I get it, but if we can use more realistic numbers versus telling everybody they're going to live to 100 and you're going to eat ramen noodles for the last 20 years of your life, I think it's probably
because
better to
every
be more
financial
realistic.
advisor says you're going to live to 100 because they want to put you in more product. Frankly, that's going to reflect stocks, and because stocks are the best. That's it. That's all that's out there, and they're the best thing since sliced bread. So why not put together a realistic assessment? I have more people that are telling me they know when they're going to die. Oh, no, I'm not doing that. I'll be dead by then. Okay, well, then take the Living to 100 and let's take a look.
Well, average life expectancy here is 78 years old.
Well, probably in Texas with all the barbecue, it's probably 74.
Well, but then you have the other side of the
And the
spectrum
queso.
where you have
Right,
somebody
right.
says, well, I'm not going to live. My parents didn't make it past 65. I'm not going to make it past 70. No way.
And think about all the medical revolutions, the incredible technology, and how people live longer today. It's so much different. When Brent went for his blood test, most of his blood is queso. It came back he's blood type Q.
No, it's Dr. Pepper.
No, it's not.
Dr. Pepper
That flows a lot easier.
Dr. Pepper and Death Wish coffee.
and queso Fridays, right?
I'm not a big queso person.
No, I thought y'all like Chewies and.
Well, my wife does.
Yeah.
She eats enough for both of us.
Well,
in
but I
that
mean-
category, not to be unkind.
Well, but that's also something. I mean, if my wife likes something, that means I have to like something
Well,
too.
yeah.
But
I mean, where you want to go?
You get I don't understand you. How do you not like that? I don't really get that. Can you explain that to me?
Yeah.
I like it. I really do
Yeah,
like it.
the default date night destination is something that begins with Tex-Mex.
So I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I'm okay. Happy wife, happy life.
Yeah.
But
and if
it's
she keeps
not
eating
my
that way,
pick.
you'll outlive her. And there you
Well,
go.
there you go.
Also, women in retirement, Social Security, absolutely confusing, right?
Yeah.
Even women I've talked to said they believe they need to take Social Security at age 62, not really realizing how much they're going to give up in future benefits rather than waiting until full retirement age or later. Social Security, spousal, and survivor benefits, even more of a black hole that women understand. And a lot of people are told to take Social Security early by their financial advisors. But yet, well, people I talked to, women I talked to, they couldn't tell me why they thought it was a good option. So it's a very important topic for women to understand and couples to discuss together because they are both affected by the claiming decision, especially of the higher wage earner. Thoughts?
Well, that is the biggest problem that we see. We see somebody comes in and say, you know what, we went ahead and took it. And the wife looks over and says, what, you did what?
You took it early, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you know, there are studies that show that not a men will make that decision.
And their life expectancy went way down.
Right. It did.
Well, in fact, actually,
after that conversation.
But there was a study that showed that if you took Social Security early and didn't have to, wasn't life expectancy didn't it diminish over time?
Well, because a lot of people, how many times do we say this, Danny? We're not going to fault anybody for taking Social Security because they need to keep food on the table or they are ill. But you do have a lot of people that are taking Social Security at 62 because, you know what, they can't work anymore. Like they have no choice and they don't have enough savings. And that's a terrible that's another terrible choice that some people have to make. They might even understand they should wait. But it's either that or paying the rent. So, and they really don't have the capacity to do a job anymore. But
Correct.
yes, but there are studies that show that especially men who take Social Security at 62 die sooner. And that has to do with all the qualitative elements of retirement too, Danny, doesn't it?
It does.
Men they're just not, generally speaking, I hate to
Social
just
butterflies.
drop a blanket on y'all, but just not as social and not cognizant of that compared to women. Men get sort of stuck in this rut in retirement, like I would, like watching Columbo reruns for like hours with potato chips. So you have to keep in mind, women are more cognizant. You know, I haven't been out of the house. I need to see my friends. I need to be more social. It's healthy for my brain. Men are like, I don't want to go out, people.
Too many people at the grocery store.
Especially if they sound like Janet Yellen. You need to get out of the house. Oh, he's out already. Where'd my husband go? He's been out of the house a lot with that housekeeper of ours. Where are they going?
Oh, man.
Next, I'm afraid to outlive my savings and investments, right? Longevity risk. Especially if they have parents that are older parents, they're taking care of them, they see they're still around, that perspective of handling that mindset, you got to understand is the outliving of retirement assets could be valid. Combination of things, Danny, that can lead to that, right?
Yes.
Not saving enough, too conservative with investments at times, not paying attention, not doing a financial plan. I know we always come back to this financial plan, but maybe you have saved enough based on your expectations. You might be pleasantly surprised.
You know, one thing I see, and you may see this as well, but I feel like women are, number one, as an investor, women typically do a pretty good job.
As far as risk management, they understand risk better. Yes, believe it or not, less emotional about. Yes, I absolutely.
They're able to put that to the side and understand a little bit, more. But also, much more nimble when it comes to saying, you know what, we need to make budget cuts. We need to stop spending here. Mm-hmm. Historically, I think they do a really, really good job with that.
I think men generally have their ego too wrapped up in things or decisions they've made, and then they have to unwind from them because they're bad decisions. Hey, there have been a lot of studies. One of my professors, Terry Odine, talks about how women are just better traders than men. When we get back, we're going to continue on this discussion on here, Financial Fitness Friday. Stay tuned.
Get daily investment news you can use, delivered at the speed of the internet at realinvestmentadvice.com.
In 1999, a parafiduciary group of financial advisors were busted by corporate giants for trying to operate in their clients' best interest. These men promptly escaped from a high-cost margin environment to the Houston Energy Corridor. Today, still excoriated by their former employers, they survive as protectors of others' fortunes. If you have a problem about preserving capital, if no one else can help, and you can find them right here, maybe you should hire the RIA team.
Hi, Lance Roberts here. If you're like most people, your 401k plan represents the bulk of your retirement assets, and unfortunately for many, managing your 401k plan can be difficult. There's so many choices, so many things to consider. With just a quick email, a couple of questions, you can put RIA advisors to work for you managing your 401k plan. Get started right now at the website, realinvestmentadvice.com, or simply call our toll-free number, 855-RIA-PLAN at realinvestmentadvice.com.
Health and financial security touches everyone within your organization. Offering benefits for all doesn't need to be complicated. Hi, I'm Tom Allen, Senior Benefits Consultant at RIA Advisors. RIA Benefits provides independent expertise to find solutions that speak to the mission of your business, the culture you want to establish, and the budget you are able to work within. Book a free consultation with me at realinvestmentadvice.com/retirement, and we'll find a solution that takes care of your most important asset, your people. realinvestmentadvice.com/retirement, realinvestmentadvice.com.
And now, another page from the Real Investment Advisors Investing Manifesto. Manage risk and volatility rather than trying to manage gains. You don't have to be right all the time. Long-term investing success is a 70% gain. Let us help you reach your financial goals with RIA Advisors. Neither bull nor bear. RIA Advisors, 281-501-1791 or online at realinvestmentadvice.com.
The Real Investment Show.
Sean S. on our YouTube channel said that he saw a lady on the news once celebrating her 100th birthday. Her secret to life was a Dr. Pepper a day. This said woman did not have any teeth. All rotted away.
That's
by
not
Dr.
true.
Pepper.
You don't know that.
I don't know that. I'm just...
He may have seen the
No, I didn't
news
see
clip.
it. I didn't see it.
No.
You never know. It
yeah.
might be a magical elixir that we're not even aware of.
That's true. Medicinal properties of Dr. Pepper.
Well, I think didn't they used to promote Coca-Cola's medicinal properties?
Yeah, it had some properties.
It had
back
some
in the day.
cocaine in it. I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think we need to go back to that.
In glass bottles.
People would be very happy compared to what they are now.
I don't know.
Add the Coke back to cocaine, to Coca-Cola, and shut down social media. The world will be
a better place.
I'd like to teach the world to sing in perfect harmony. That's when Coke had, even though in the 70s it didn't.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I think
they were on something else. So listen, as a woman, and you're going to think you have longevity risk, don't rule out annuities. You can create a private pension to supplement Social Security, right? You defer it, you collect this income for the rest of your life. I've noticed women are also more amenable to guaranteed income options, Danny, compared to men, because they know they're probably going to be left behind. They want income for life. But these annuities, first of all, you don't even know if you need an annuity. You don't even know if you need to create your own pension. You might be fine. You won't know until you do a financial plan. You don't want to be sold annuities. You want it to be planned to create a guaranteed income stream if it is required.
But how do you know if it's required or not? I mean,
By the plan, right?
man. Yeah. Well, of
By
course.
a financial plan, if you have longevity risk and your assets are going to outlive your assets, well, then I need something to make sure that doesn't happen. I can't outlive my Social Security. If I add a guaranteed income supplement, I know I'm going to get that check for life. So it's just a thought. So women are much more open to options that are going to pay them for as long as they live. Also, they're I think it's better, Danny, but also they're not confident sometimes about their investment decision. I'm talking about educated women. They lack the confidence to embrace the investment process. They keep a lot of money, generally speaking, in cash. They rather stick it out in cash, and they don't want to make stupid decisions. I do think when we meet with couples, well, first of all, we are meeting more with couples, especially younger generations. Both parties are engaged, and I think that's real positive, don't you?
Yeah, I think it's really positive when you get both couples engaged, because that is typically one of the hardest things. I mean, we have a lot of people that are very smart. They've been, in fact, people that have been in the industry for a long time that maybe retired and said, you know what, I understand that I can't continue to do this, because if something happens to me, my spouse is going to be completely blindsided by what to do. So I need somebody to help get engaged, bring all this together. And that way, if something does happen, there's somebody that they can call and walk through this process and help. And I think I think men are becoming doing a better job about this, about bringing their spouse in. And then also women are wanting to become more engaged. I know my wife, she's always we do this for a living, but she makes sure that, we try to have regular meetings, but she wants to make sure we're going above and beyond, which I'm great with.
Yes.
Because that's what I hope she knows. If something happens, that she can take care of herself, she can take care of the family, and she knows where things are. And that's, I think, is really important. And also, going back to the plan, that's a really nice aspect of it, because you're taking an inventory of assets as well all along the way.
Absolutely. There are an overwhelming number of women have never met their spouse's financial advisors. It doesn't make any sense. It's gotten better. But generally, 4 out of 10 women said that they were being talked down to or not listened to or being sold something by prospective financial advisors and gave up. That needs to change, and it is changing, and more women are engaged in the process. And to Danny's point earlier, they generally, based on studies, tend to be better investors. It's amazing how men are more emotional over the money. Women are definitely more emotional over the risk. So if you can blend that, if you're a couple that both value savings and managing debt, you can form a synergy, right? You can put together, I have a few clients that if it weren't for their spouses, they would be having much more aggressive portfolios, even when I show them that you're not giving up any return if you moderate this. You're just giving up some of the volatility and risk. There's no reason to be as aggressive as you want, as you feel you need to be. So that moderation, working together, I think really helps. Or maybe if you, hopefully, listen to your spouse, there's some perspective that's going to be brought to the table that you might not have thought of. If you're not into risk mitigation and insurance, you got to have one spouse that at least that is. Oh, what do I need that for? You got to make sure that you're taking hold of this for your family. And again, I see more and more women being very engaged. And it starts at a young age, Denny. I'm sure I know you teach your girl. I taught mine. She's very independent with money. She does her budget. She understands Roths. She saves in her 401k, Roth 401k. She does all the things that she always has questions, but they're good questions. How do I maximize my yield on my cash? These are the questions she's coming up with. Just because we taught her, she can make these decisions. So it starts at home, doesn't it?
It does. I think these need to be regular conversations. We've talked about it. Kids do a much better job when couples, when your partner, you discuss this in front of them and actually have conversations
and you're on the
about
same
money,
page, right?
And they understand it, yeah. And I think you have to bring it to light. And so many times it's hidden. We don't want to talk about it. I think we need to overcome our problems, debt, have these conversations with kids so they don't make the same problems that maybe you have, and embrace it. These things can be a great teaching moment for children, and you have them understand exactly, why you're doing certain things, why you shop a certain way, why you eat the way you do. All of these things, I think they're all tied together.
Your children are observing your relationship with money. even if you don't think so.
Well, and many times, I mean, we've had this conversation, Rich. They don't understand it because all they see is you push a button online, something shows up at the front door. They don't ever, or even you go to the grocery store, you hand a card. They don't ever see the exchange of actual money. And that's really all they know.
Right, because you could see, hey, it's all electronic, right? Mm-hmm. They don't understand the repercussions. It's
Correct.
just it's magical stuff at your door all the time.
Or
but you've broken down the mechanics of that to help you understand that flow.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
They understand that this is something you have to pay for. This is not some magical unicorn that provides stuff.
But at a young age, I think that you have to reiterate these things multiple times because it's so easy for them to forget. But like, because that's all they're seeing day in and day out.
Yes.
Is you using the card or something showing up at the door. And it's tough for them to get the actual concept of money. I think I told you I had to talk to James, one of my children, about how he spends money in the sense of, like he gets dollar bills and he's really good. And I told you, like, during Christmas time, I'll take him to Walmart to buy stuff for his brother and sister. And everybody must think that we're broke because he'll say, all right, I've got $20 to spend. And he's constantly looking at which toy he can get. Okay, if I get this, he's doing the math. And we'll be there for an hour or two. But here recently, he's gotten where, like, he gave some friends at school, like, a dollar bill. And I'm like, hold on, man. Why'd you do that? Oh, well, I thought they could use some money. And I'm like, huh. All right. Well, let's talk about how we do that. If you're going to help somebody.
That's how Tony Soprano started. You better be real careful.
Ooh.
The Ratliffs.
Yeah, that ain't happening. Yeah.
We got a John Dutton in the making right here.
There's
a young Ratliff
another
boy.
book idea.
Is it?
The Ratliffs.
The Ratliffs.
Yeah, I was a little disappointed. I said, hey, man, you know how hard you got to work for that money? I said, evidently, you're not doing enough chores. We're going to have to up the ante here a little bit. You clearly don't understand the value of that dollar.
The only way you gave up money when I was a kid is somebody cornered you in the hallway in school and said, give me your money or I'm going to beat the hell out of you. So you gave him your lunch money.
Yeah.
He still beat you up anyway. Didn't work.
It's not going to happen with the Ratliff pack.
Have you considered inflation? 50 cents is not enough. Inflation right now is pretty high, right? Make it $1.25 next time. Otherwise, no tater tots for you. Right?
No tater tots.
Are you going to eat all your tots?
See, he's too nice for that. I'm not ever concerned about that.
You didn't go to my high school.
So are you picking people out of their lunch money?
No, I was the one giving it over.
He was the picky.
Yes, I was the picky. Until I hit somebody in the head with a book.
Oh, yeah, then game over.
And then I dropped the book. And my name was in the book. And the principal said that I was suspended, but the guy who got hit with the book, even though he's been extorting me, he's fine.
But you got
it's
suspended.
Your problem. Never write your name in books is the lesson I learned.
Oh, because you got hit with your book.
Yeah.
You were the problem.
I was the problem.
Interesting.
Hey, wacky public schools.
Deductive reasoning there.
What can I tell you? All right, well, hope you all have a good weekend. Lance on Monday. We'll see you again next Friday. Thanks for sticking with us here on Financial Fitness Friday. Have a great weekend, everybody.
It's a rich man's world.